It's Saito and
there we go.
May. Yeah.
Okay. As long as y'all can hear us, I suppose. Let's see what's on
Can I get some
YouTube.
love? We got Gonzalez leading the charge over here. Can we give him an applause?
Hey.
Then we've got Miss Ashley, Gentry. Are you playing a game called Strip GCLA and take off a piece of clothing every time you get on?
Yeah, he's
T-shirt. All right.
he's like stripping.
All right. I'm
Are you
grab
back?
these guys.
I think we're back.
Okay.
We're back.
Are we back on?
Mm-hmm.
Post
Yes.
in the group
All right.
me.
So can you post in the group me that we are back on live stream?
Right.
All right. I want them over here because I'm going to sit down and teach. Get pen and paper out. Let's dive in. All right. You have 5 levels of leadership. Miss Nisa, birthday card for you from some of us.
Thank you.
Huh?
Okay.
Enjoy the read.
It's not fuzzy either, so that's good.
Let's roll.
All right.
Santi, grab a seat here in the second row. You can push the chair out. The seat's waiting for you.
Okay.
So, obviously, you are next right after this with Power 5.
Hey, make sure they
So we're supposed to have lunch at 2, but I kind of want to do Power 5 and then have lunch. That's what I'd like to do, because this will be faster. I won't be a full hour. If that works for you. If you can be ready to roll in 35 minutes. Cool. All right. Do I have that?
Yes, I'm trying to make it full screen.
Oh, I don't care. As long as it's recording me.
Okay.
All right. Can I have these children over here? All right. Let's rock and roll. So one of my favorite things about, and why I love GCLA, we're not just teaching you guys, we can mute them out. It's not just about teaching you guys to, run offices. This is about teaching you guys to be great leaders. All right. No. All right. So this is about teaching you guys to be great leaders, just in life, with your family. All right. You're just gonna boss people around, and no one likes to be bossed around. And I'll tell you guys, we've lost people in the years. And I remember I've talked to reps that were like, "Oh yeah, this person, I don't really like talking to them." But I'm like, "Hey," I'm like, "What's up?" And if you watch me do PDI, every time when I call people, I'm like, "Yo," or I'm talking, I'm like, "How are you? What's happening?" And then we'll get to, "Hey, I needed to get this, or I'm calling for these reasons." But get to know what's happening with them. When you start building connections and relationships, you develop trust. All right, and the environment becomes a lot more positive to work in and just to communicate. So whether at home, job, playing around, or when you're volunteering, that's a big thing. You have that connection. So for people who are a level 2, it's about getting to know their people and figuring out how to get along with them, because leaders really do find out who they are. So ask, and you can write these things down, right? So we were saying say hello or whatever. So ask about their background, right? So when you're getting to know people, maybe it's in a PC. It's a great way to develop a level 2 leadership and then continue it to the next level. But first you can ask about their background. So do you know about, where did they grow up? How they go to school? What was their first job? Just you. Anyone who's talked to, if I've ever had this conversation, I haven't had this with everybody. I'm very so what's your deal? What's your story? Or tell me about you. And you're like, oh, all right. I'm like, yeah, where'd you grow up? What, siblings? What's your deal? What motivates you? What excites you? Whatever that is, I'm getting to know that. But ask about their background. Number 2, inquire about their motives, right? So that's what I was just saying. What makes you tick? Why do you work so hard? I like to know that about people. I'm like, why do you work so hard? All right, people have different. Can anyone tell me here, why do you work so hard? Anyone want to share? Quick, this is what drives me. Jeremy? Cool, that's awesome. All right, why do you work so hard? Help me them out. Anyone else?
Yeah, I put myself in college.
School, all right, so future. All right, hate to lose, all right. What works, so, anyone else?
I was going to say
Competition and recognition.
Financial freedom.
Yeah, by the way, that's me. why I work so hard is I want financial freedom for my family, and I wanted that. I grew up struggling. It sucked. I never wanted to have to go through that. It sucks really bad, and I'm very blessed with Cutco that my sister and her husband couldn't come to Texas for Thanksgiving. She was crying. She's like, there's no way we can go. The flights are $800, blah, blah, blah. And I saw her post on our family group, I'm not going to be able to come. And I just wired her the money. I said, buy the flights. And she's like, flights are purchased. Thank you. And she was crying. She's like, I'll pay you back eventually. I'm like, don't worry about it. I'm like, it's okay. Like, it's not a big deal, you know? And not to have to worry about that. And then I called my aunt and grandpa in Puerto Rico. And I said, hey, and you guys are going to meet them hopefully when we're in Puerto Rico. And I said, look, I said, what's Thanksgiving week? What's happening? And she's like, I said, when do you work? She's like, what crazy plan are you making? I was like, I just want to know, you know? And she said, what are you doing? I said, when do you work? Monday, Tuesday, what day do you have off? Can you get off Wednesday? I said, look, I want to fly you guys over. She's like, Kathy, you can't do that. I was like, no, I can. I said, I know grandma's in the hospital and there's a lot going on, but like, when are you going to have? I said, I just paid for Michelle and her husband to be able to come over here. I said, we're going to have Dad and his wife are coming. Josh and his wife are coming. Michelle and her husband are coming. I said, and then I'm going to be there. It's my house. I said, you know, and Matt, I said, when are you going to have a chance to have when's the next time Grandpa's going to have all his grandkids in one place with their spouses? You know, the newly married, both of them got married last year, both my siblings. And when is he going to have a chance to have that? You know, like, we don't know. He already lost 2 of his 5 grandchildren, you know, unexpectedly, and he might go before any of us do, but like, we have an opportunity to be together. I said, now that they're married, they're going to go to other homes and family, their in-laws, houses, different years, and when can we all have this? I said, I want to do this. And she was like, okay, I get it. Because she'll fight me to death, but she goes, no, you're right. I said, so let's make it happen. I was like, talk to Grandpa. I'll be there next week. I'm having dinner with you guys on Wednesday. I said, but I want to do this. I want us all together. And to be able to do things like that has been awesome. You know, I flew my whole family to Labor Day weekend last year. This weekend, I was like, I want to go to Napa Valley. Or 2 years ago, excuse me. Last year, I took him to Puerto Rico to El Conquistador. But I said, I want to go to Napa Valley. It was my sister's dream who passed away to do that. That was her 30th birthday party. We had planned it out. I did it for my 30th. We had it all mapped out. We were going to Napa. I did it in 2012. We were doing it for her in 2014. And she passed away in 2013 at 29. So we never got to do it. And I remember 3-4 months later, you know, going it right after my birthday, I said, you know what? I want to take Nana's trip. I said, I want to do it before anything happens to anybody else, before there's any excuse why we can't be together. And it was the most impossible thing to get my family together at the same time, because everyone's work schedules are so different. We had not done a family vacation since I was 15 years old all together. And my dad even said that. He's like, we haven't done something together since you were in high school. I said, I know. And it took 15 years to be able to do that. And I said, what do you have? Can you get, and by God's grace, everything that Josh was like, I have to be at work on Tuesday. My sister's like, well, I can take off or move this. I actually have days off that I can take, which she never does. And my dad's like, I'm free. I can go. And I said, cool. And I said, can you go to Napa? No, I can't. I'm like, can you time-wise? Yeah. I'm like, but I can't financially. I didn't ask that. Can you go to Napa? And I'm like, all right, awesome. I booked all their flights, booked a hotel, flew them out there, and we had one of the most incredible vacations that I could have asked for. And they talk about it. He's like, I still can't believe that we did that. And I was like, I want to go back. But it was just awesome, and to be able to provide experiences. So I think about when you get to know those things about your people, like that fires me up. Like, that excites me to be able to do things like that and provide experiences. To never have to worry about money and provide experiences. Like, that makes me tick big time. And when people know that, like, my manager knew that when I started selling Cutco. And so he drove that. That drove me my first summer to earn 22 grand and provide experiences in Europe and travel around and fly my parents over to come visit me in London and take my friend to Paris for the weekend who had never been there and take one of my buddies to Ireland that was his dream and be able to do things that they're like, they'll never be able to afford or whatever. And I'm like, dude, just sell knives. But it really excited me. And so my manager would be like, hey, where are you going to go when you get this money? Hey, what trips do you have planned? What experiences have you put together? And I'm like, oh, we're going to do this. He's like, I can't wait for Istanbul next year. Branches, you better all freaking hit that. All right? Knock that thing out. You guys have till the end of the month. But to be able to go there, and I was with Melissa, and she looked up, and she said, one of the top, I don't know what, top blank travel experiences you can have. And in the top was the air balloon rides in Turkey. And she goes, that what you said you wanted to do is one of the top travel experiences in the world. And I was like, boom, like, I didn't even know that. But I said, that just looked badass when I saw it. But I have specific things. I'm like, I want to do this. I was talking to Melissa the other day. I said, when I plan out my year last year, I had 30 grand in the budget for travel for last year. And that was in my budget. When I planned in 2013, I'm like, in 2014, I want to do this. I put the amounts that the experiences take. And so that fires me up. I'm like, all right, so I need to ship an extra blank because this is my savings goal. These are my bills. And I need 30 grand to just play and create experiences for my family. And so that when people are like, what motivates you? And you work. And I'm like, I work to live. To like live amazing and have not to survive. Like that sucks, but just really knowing that. So it's really exciting what happens when you guys really get to know people versus like, what's your demo number? What's your this? What's your that? But it's like, dude, how close are we to that car? Hey, how close are we to whatever? Like whatever it is that they're excited about working towards, are you bringing that up on your phone calls as how far are we from here? Hey, how's the car fund going? Hey, how's the house fund? How's that vacation fund? How's the cruise fund, and really driving those things. And number 3, so we said ask about their background, inquire about their motives, and number 3 is seek to know their values, all right? So value questions are a little tougher to ask and a little tougher for the person to answer sometimes. Those of you who are here during SC2, I talked about 7 levels of intimacy, right? And so there's different levels, and some are kind of scarier to get into, right? And people might, it's weird to talk about that because you don't meet someone and you're like, what are your dreams? What are your fears? You're like, what? That's just weird and uncomfortable. But just, asking things like, what's the most important lesson? And examples would be like, what is it that you value most? What's the number one goal in your life right now? How did whatever experience change the way you relate to people today? If they went through a certain experience. And I know there are certain people in this room that have gone through different life experiences that haven't been fun. And I was talking to one of our DMs the other day about that. And I said, how do you feel that shaped and molded you? I said, how do you feel that affects you positively now? How do you feel that affects you negatively now? And it was just like, huh. And just really thinking about that. Because every experience we've gone through has shaped and molded us to be the person we are today. And I realize that's something, as you guys are working with me, you're going to get to know real big about me, is I just embrace your journey. Whatever's happened in the past, own it. Don't hide it. Don't try to be embarrassed about it. Just own it and know that it's part of what's created and continues to chisel and shape and mold who you are. And for whatever reason, you needed certain strengthening. You needed certain things to happen. That you're going to need those characteristics. You're going to need that later in the future. Does that make sense? And you might not know now what it was. You might look at it and be like, this sucks that I went through, whatever it is. But it's like, you know what? Somewhere along the way, God's going to use that or whatever you believe in to help somebody else or to help you create the impact that you were made to create on this world. So when people go through things, can we help them see the light and say, how do you feel that helps you? How do you feel that makes you react to people? Is always a thing because it could be negative or positive, right? But then it's like, well, how do you feel? What do you feel it taught you? How do you feel it could help you? And so really, people helping them do, and that's more level 4 type stuff, which we'll get to. But getting to know people, all right? So as we go through from level 1 to level 2. With level 2, how to get people's permission. I'll give you guys 5 things you can jot down real quick. So 1, if you're in the stage of leadership, which I believe many of you in here are. Many of you guys have already learned this, to ask questions, to get to know the people you're working with or coaching or whatever. How do you take it to the next level? So one of the things, first, you can connect with yourself before trying to connect with others. So this is all level 2. These are behaviors that are most important during this level, because I believe that a good majority of you guys in here are in this level. From me seeing you or meeting you or seeing how you've worked. Some of you guys with certain people are at a level 3, which we'll get to. But most people are between 2 and 3. The newbies are usually right at level 1. Sometimes it's just for that first week they're the boss. Sometimes it lasts longer because they don't know how to switch to level 2. But when you're in level 2, which the majority are, you need to connect with yourself before trying to connect with others. Because again, if you're just talking at them, you're not going to build that relationship. So, knowing where you're at and being able to have a good conversation. Then develop a people-oriented style. This is something I'll go into more details about this later. This is in the book, so we'll talk about this more later. Then number 3 is become the chief encourager of your team. So if people, like if you want people to be positive and to always be glad when they see you coming, encourage them. Lift people up. And they're like stoked to see you, to talk to you, versus if you're the one who's always bringing the negative whatever to them, it's like they run. They do not want to talk to you. They do not want to be near you. Number 4, strike a balance between care strike a balance between care and candor. And candor would just be like being frank, being sincere. But if you're not sincere with people, like if you have care without sincerity, it creates dysfunctional relationships. Okay, and if you have sincerity without care, like if you're like very real with people, but they don't feel the care, that can create distant relationships, because it's just like you're just more blunt than anything. So they both need to be there. And lastly is practice the law of connection, okay? Practice the law of connection. You be able to connect with people. Leaders, they touch the heart before they ask for a hand, all right? So we need to, as a leader, learn to, when things aren't well, to create the velvet hammer. And it's like you're going to like lay down the law and make sure they're doing the right things and hold people accountable, but it's that soft touch on the outside. And so this is something that top leaders call a velvet hammer, where other people are just like hammering into people. And that's where people hate going to work, don't like their boss, don't like, because they're just always, it's just a hard hammer and it just hurts. Versus we do need accountability. We do need to be kept in line. All of us do. But, that soft touch makes a world of a difference. Jude?
Yeah, I was going to ask, when you're building relationships, it takes time. However, when you're essentially like this whole lesson can be applied to running interviews. Like when you meet with a person, you build that connection up. Is there any way to, I guess, improve or augment, like to be able to lead at a level 3 with someone that you just met, be able to influence them to bring on?
I think that when you, and level 3 we're going to talk about, it's production. So it's what you've done, and they'll see like things that you've done. But being in a 2-3, like when you're in interviews, I think it's just being there, being present. Because it's very easy to like ask questions and I'm just like, oh, no, okay. And they don't feel like they're heard, or listened to. So I think that just being a good listener, being aware. So I look at applications, right? Because I'll say, hey, I'm like, hey, I noticed you were the president of your whatever club. So obviously you're someone that has leadership abilities and enjoys being. Right? And those are the type of people who they feel good and they feel that connection because they're being heard, even if it was on a paper or when they answer something, like you're really listening and like they're not just answering to answer, but utilizing those things, to when you're talking to them makes a big difference. So really being there, really listening, and being able to use what they're saying within that conversation. That goes to demos too, right? Anyone who's heard me talk about building rapport and getting a lot of recommendations, are you asking the right questions in the beginning, and are you listening when they're answering those questions, so that at the end, you don't go, oh, how about your family or your neighbors? When they told you in the beginning they don't know anyone in the neighborhood, they just moved here, or they know that one guy across the street. The person who listens at the end goes, hey, how about that one neighbor that you guys know already? How about them? Like, are they, they're really nice. Oh, how about your family that lives in South Dakota? I can do virtuals with them. Oh, how about, and you're just very specific. They feel, a connection there that's going to help, and that's just connection with people. And when it's in work or home, your kids, there's one thing of, I'm your mother, right? You need to listen to me. And there's the other thing of like, you want to listen because of how they lead it. And I think about 2 examples are my best friend's mom. To this day is like my second mom, Julie's mom. And I grew up in their house. And then there's my mom. And my mom, she just never knew how to really talk to people. She still doesn't. She's not the best human being in the world. And she never really wanted to grow or learn or develop. And she's put herself in a really nasty place for a lot of our family. And I just remember growing up and she was always just like yelling and complaining and just like, versus like really wanting to listen, asking questions, seeing how we were feeling. My dad was the complete opposite. He was so good at that. And he was just like, what happened here, you know? Or if I made a dumb decision, or when I got arrested, or different things happened, my dad's like, what happened? You know, like, why do you feel, like, what do you feel led to that? Like, you know what? And I'm like, Dad, like, does this happen or whatever? And so I'm like, it's nothing. I was like, I was just being stupid. I was like, it was with these people, and like, I was just being dumb, and like, it has nothing to do with like me trying to rebel or whatever. It was literally, that was just really dumb. And he's like, all right. He's like, things happen, you know, like you're young, you make choices, like whatever, and just being understanding. And there's a way to lead as a parent where it's like you can really ask questions. And I watch parenting, and I remember I watched my best friend's parents, and it was amazing. I said, that's how I want to parent my kids. But they would always ask questions, and they would always, hey, honey, like, do you feel that you should have done that? Do you feel, you know, whatever? And just asking things where it's like, oh, be like, is that how you want to be? Is that the example you want to be to your sister? Is that the, you know, and when you're little, sometimes you're like, yeah. It's like, really? All right, you know? And then it's like, oh, no, that's not really how I want to be. But they just, you follow, like, man, I want to be patient like my parents. Or I want to be, and it was very different, the energy that brought. And them wanting to, like, Julie never wanted to do anything wrong. She never wanted to make her parents mad. And I was like the little devil. I'm like, let's go do this. She's like, but that's not good. I'm like, so? You know? And I was like this, like, rebellious, crazy person. And it was more just how my mom was like, it made me want to rebel. Like, I didn't want to listen to her because I thought she was just, like, a horrible person, you know? So how do you carry yourself to connect? Because, again, this is not just in business. This is in your relationships, you know? Like, as a parent, you're leading. As a sibling, you're leading, you know? In business or whatever you're doing, like, you're leading. And that's what this group of individuals is. So level 3, when we get to level 3, so good leaders always make things happen. You know, they get results. But level 3, there's like, these are also, they're not only productive individually, but when you get to level 3, they're also able to help the team produce, okay? So it's based on production. So level 3 leadership is based on results, it's production. And so people, when it comes to an organization, people follow you because of what you've done for the organization, all right? What you've done for the organization. So because they're able to help the team produce, a level 3 leader, they have more confidence, there's credibility, there's increased influence, all right? No one can fake level 3. Level 3 people are self-motivated, they're productive. And I think about this and the power of personal sales, right? Why is it so important to personally sell? Because it's been like, it's a different type of leadership. You've gotten results. There's production there. You're going to lead at a higher level automatically. It's not an opinion, it's the fact. You are more confident. You're not just faking what you're saying. You're like, oh, dude, come watch me do it. And you feel, they can feel that belief in what you're saying and what you're doing at a much stronger level. And you can put 2 managers together, and one who's just saying the right things and one who's really done it. And they don't have to say much. It's not questionable. Like, you just know it. You can feel it. You know, you watch Drew talk, and I was talking to Nick Matlock about this, right? And Nick's having his biggest year right now. But I said, what do you feel is the difference when you watch him between you and him, you know? And he goes, his conviction and his confidence and everything. And it's like, because he's just done it and he knows it's going to happen. And so then it does happen, you know? And that's just from you producing. So I think about just the power of that for you guys. And as you're coaching your people, you will perform at a higher level. You will sell at a higher level when you've sold more because there's a different level of confidence that's there. And that's a fact. Does it mean if you're low in career shows you can't rise? No. And you'll still learn great things, but you will produce higher flying sales reps when you have done it yourself. All right? You will produce more of those people. So know that for sure. And another benefit of leading on level 3 is that it attracts other highly productive people. They're attracted to that. People want to be around that. Producers are attracted to other producers, and they respect one another. They enjoy collaborating. They get things done together, and ultimately that creates growth for the organization. All right. So, you know, I think about what are the characteristics of a great producing team, and people can identify that, you know, differently. But I think about passion, work ethic, discipline, cohesiveness, focus, determination. And this is, making things happen really separates the real leaders from the wannabe leaders, So I think that's a big thing to look at for you guys. And so I think about as you're, how do you make the most out of this level, right? So you guys can put 6 things here that you can jot down for in this stage of leadership when you're at level 3, which there are some of you in this room definitely leading in your organizations as level 3 leaders. And know this too, it's not like you're at a certain point in every part of your life, and even with every person, because there's certain people that I know I'm at a level 3 with. There's certain people I'm at a level 4 with, and there's a small group of people I know I'm at a level 5 with. In Houston, I'm at a much smaller, if with anyone. I think maybe there's 1 or 2 people I can identify that I'd be more at a level 5, but most people I'm not at a level 5. And reason being is they just don't know me yet. We're back home, I'm at a level 5 with a lot more people, just because they know me, they've seen me, they know more of me. And so you guys will, when we get there, you'll understand what I'm talking about, all right? But leading at a level 3 is huge. And so if you're here, this is great. Number 1, understand how your personal giftedness, all right, contributes to the vision. So basically, you really need to, it's important to understand how your gifts and abilities can be used productively to further the vision of the organization. And by the way, this is another thing that when you're producing, there's more confidence, right? There's more confidence with what you're doing, so you do more. Where somebody who hasn't produced, they question themselves all the time. There's more self-doubt. Some of you in this room have experienced that. You question yourselves, you question your abilities because you haven't done that yet, and so there's doubt. And you're not going to be able to lead the right. So can you focus on what do I have to offer? That comes easier for some people than others. I know what I have to offer, so I don't question that. But in certain scenarios, and so some of you guys are very confident with that, and that's because you've always been a producer, where some of you guys haven't been yet. But can you focus on what can I offer? Am I great connecting with people? Am I great with organization? Am I great with execution? Am I great? There's different things you can bring to the team, right? Some people are great at gathering the facts, making the plan. Some people are great at motivating and inspiring and pushing people. Some people are that, put me in the front, coach, let's go. And they'll go out there and make that thing come true and have other people follow them. But every single part of that, it's important to an organization building. So can you really identify what your gifts are that you can give to, that you can focus on and give whatever project, whatever's happening. Obviously in our offices, we're building our offices. What can you bring to further that vision? Number 2, cast vision regularly for what needs to be accomplished. Cast vision regularly for what needs to be accomplished. So guys, fuzzy communication, it really leads to unclear direction, which produces sloppy execution. So productive leaders, they really create a link between the vision of the organization and everyday production of the team. So it's what we're doing right now, they're what it's building, what we're working towards, And for us, what we're building right now, what it's building for next year. That excites me so much, and I'm constantly to the DM team, and I'll say that for later before Cody wraps up. I just saw Jacob. When we have the best, if you're maximizing level 3, are you constantly casting vision to really keep the people motivated daily to what the bigger picture is? So for your office, it might be winning the silver cup. It might be having the first $1 million year. It might be having the first 250 grand fall. It might be breaking the record for blank. Whatever it is, the bigger that we're working towards. So when we're doing our daily calls, when we're calling PRs, whatever it is, it's towards that bigger vision of winning that silver cup. That every time you guys book a demo, book a person, book whatever, let's think about say silver cup, because we can freaking get there. And every little step is going to make that happen. Every PR, every IAP booked, everything, it's silver cup, Can we get that chant going throughout GCK? Everything, it's just silver cup, silver cup, silver cup. And how crazy that would be to make that happen. And we can make that a reality. And that's pretty awesome. So number 3, begin to develop your people into a team. I was asked this by somebody over in Haiti, one of the CSPs out in LA, as she's really working hard to build the team and help the team be more cohesive. She's like, I really want our CGCs, I really want our CS, like, she's like, we don't have that team environment yet. It's a lot of people working individually. And I just kind of laughed, you know? And she goes, what? She's like, you're so good at putting teams together. I said, I know, but you know what's funny? Moving here, I came to a place where there was a lot of great people working individually. And I said, and one of my biggest challenges this summer has been trying to build that team. And for me, I literally was in tears. And as I shared with Andy when we were in Haiti about CFC, it was the first time that I saw like GCK and all the managers like a freaking unit. It was awesome. It gives me chills. Who was there, by the way? For that, it was just phenomenal. Was it not? Like just the countdown. And for those who weren't there, just so you know, we took all 3 of the top 3 branch personal sales trophies. 3 out of 3 came from GCK. All right. Out of the top 10 rep trophies, we got 9 out of the 10. And then from the CSPs, we had 1 out of 3. All right, but it was phenomenal. And everyone was so excited to be part of our organization. And it wasn't just College Station. Yeah, they were killing it. And it wasn't just HTX. And it wasn't just, West Houston or whatever office. It was GCK. And just that chant over and over and over. And then with the division, it was amazing. And I sat there in tears, and I'm like, finally, because like that's what I know, and that's what I love. And I've been on teams my whole life. I played sports my whole life, and I've been on some of the best teams. And I've led the national championship team in Cutco, the district team that no one else has sold more than out of Miami, Florida, for years. All right, and we won 7 national championships. And it was just awesome. And everyone knew when the freaking Sharpies were in the house. And to leave this national organization and come here and just have people that were just like, no, I'm good. Like, not about team, not about whatever. And I was like, what the heck? And there's a beauty in working together. And I know some people work better independently, but the competition, the fun, the encouragement, the challenging each other, it pushes you to work harder. I can work hard on my own. Some of you guys, you can work hard on your own. But if I'm like, yo, B, let's go next week. I'm going to drop 20 G's. Let's see if we can keep up. You're like, what? And there's like, there's that level of competition that it's like, shoot, let's go. And even though you might have worked hard on your own, now it's like, dude, I got to beat her, or I got to beat him. And so there's that extra competition. Like, I love this week. Alex Chavez sends me the report. He's like, #1, bring home a silver cup. I didn't even notice Schmitz was on the same report. I was like, yeah, Alex, let's go. And then I started laughing when I saw the comments. I was like, oh, yeah, Schmitz, congrats, go. And he's like, I'm winning the cup. And they were both people that were going to, Chavez had his plans to work his butt off for the fall. He has his sales goal, whatever, for the fall. Schmitz had his goal for the fall. But now it's like, oh, man, I got to work a little bit harder. And it's just fun, like it's extra competition, but it's fun working together to make bigger things happen. So I love the team. So I think about, for the only way to do that, production makes team building possible. When things are happening, it can only be accomplished by a manager who's willing to hold people accountable, help people produce. It's one of the reasons I love Alliance and just bringing people together. It's like, it's forced accountability. We're going to go out and produce, and people are gonna join together to get that done, because it's hard to just do it by yourself always. And you're going to have days where you're discouraged, and you just need that extra, like, dude, you're an asshole, let's go. And that reminder. I love to be reminded, and I'm good on my own, but sometimes I need that cat. Let's go, And I usually call Andy for it, or one of my guys are, I'm just like, dude, I'm just so freaking, like, and it's like, you're a freaking butt kicker. Like, let's roll. Don't forget, like, you've done X, Y, Z, whatever. I'm like, yeah, I know, let's go. So just having that. So anyway, so begin to develop your people into a team. #4, prioritize the things that yield high return. All right, so meaning you need to get rid of stuff that aren't producing the high results. I'll tell you, in the pilot this past week, there was a lot of things happening. There was a lot of work being done, but it wasn't producing high results. I personally booked 8 PRs yesterday in an hour and a half. I've got 5 more I need to book up. I'm going to meet with people. I'm going to create a training class by myself as a DVM. I will create a training class this week. And last week I had 6, 7 people working on this, and we launched 0. We had 1 person in training and launched 0 with all these people working. All right. And by the way, and I talked to Mary Lou about it. I said, you guys were doing a lot of things, and I get that, but we were doing things that were not yielding the results that we need to have. there was nothing more important than Santi getting out there and getting clipboards last week, and that hasn't happened yet. There was nothing more important than getting our assistant managers, PR, and getting people in, and I just booked up like 7 of Brianna's friends. Where the hell were they before? And I'm going to set up over 10 of them within 24 hours. There was nothing more like that. That is what's going to yield the highest results. It's having our people in. And that's why I made a contest for them. And I said, hey, I'm going to pay for a cruise if we do X, Y, and Z. Let's go. We got 3 weeks. Because that's going to yield the highest return, and I know that. So I'm going to focus on the productivity that's going to create the highest return. So me running training, me doing PDI yesterday, that wasn't going to reveal. No, I needed to freaking get some people on my team ASAP. All right, and I'm going to go out and find them, whatever the hell I have to do to get that done. And I'm going to go to campus personally, as you have on Tuesday, and find people that I'm going to bring onto my team. All right, and talk to people in the cafeteria and talk to people wherever, because that's going to yield the highest results for what I need done right now. So prioritize the things that yield high return for you. Number 5, be willing and ready to be a change agent. Okay, so be willing and ready to be a change agent. And what I mean by this, like, guys, progress, when you're moving forward, it always requires change. It always requires a reroute, okay? And that's what I had to do coming in, and you have to be ready for that. You know what? This is not working. This is not getting us this. Boom, we need to change, all right? And being ready to, like, make that move. All right, time to move here. Time to do this. Like, hey, we've been doing this. Great. We haven't been getting results, so then let's do this. Let's do something else. Let's find something else. Who's doing, what's producing? Let's get it done. It's very difficult to get different results if you're doing the same things, right? So you have to do something different. Number 6, never lose sight of the fact that results are your goal. All right? And again, and this is beyond the relationship. So I have relationships with these people now. So I have a position. Now I've built a relationship with these people, and now I'm gonna drive results with these people. All right, and that's where I'm gonna lead at the best level. It's not just I'm just gonna hang out with them or whatever. That's not gonna help me lead them the right way. Is it beneficial for them? No, they're not making money. They're not progressing. They're not advancing within your company. They're not being challenged to grow as people, right? As individuals. If people are not growing. All right, and so as a leader, so the results could be with your family levels of growth, right? Improving in their spirituality, improving in their relationships, just growing in knowledge, whatever it is, but it's growth, all right? And if you're not driving growth within your family or whatever it is, whatever that result is, and so when I'm saying result, it's not just sales result, right? It's whatever result you're looking for, you're not being the best leader you can be for them, all right? If you're not challenging people to grow and develop as people to higher results, all right? So that's always, are we focused on, to me the result is, are you green and growing or brown and dying? Are you always becoming, one of my quests for myself in my life, with my family, with my business, with everything is, how can you always be a better version of you? Are you developing into the next best version of you? Are you developing into the next best version of you? That is a result that I always look for within myself, people around me, and in my organization. How are we doing that? And it's not always going to be perfect, and sometimes we will digress. But what am I doing to get back on track to make that happen? That's very big, all right? So we go to level 4, and this is where most vector managers lead. Long-term, the good ones are at level 4. The best ones lead at level 5. And again, they won't lead at 5 with everybody, but they strive for that. That's the ultimate level. So level 4 is people development. So jot that down, people development. And you can put down reproduction. All right, because we're developing more leaders during this. All right, but people, and you could jot down, on this level, people follow because of what you've done for them. So people follow because of what you've done for them. Just so you guys are aware, good leaders on level 4, they invest their time, their energy, money, thinking into growing others as leaders. So I think about for you guys as future branch managers, as future district managers, whether you long-term end up working as a CGC or leading a different sales aspect of our business or elsewhere? Are you helping develop other leaders? That's big, all right? That's huge. So they look at every person and really try to gauge what his or her potential is and really help them grow and lead. And regardless of an individual's attitude, like title, position, age, experience, whatever it is, every single person is a potential candidate for development. And they deserve to grow as people and develop as people. Some people and some of you guys, it's like we have a box of pencils, and our job as leaders is to help sharpen those pencils. Some of you guys were already sharp and need a little bit more. Some of you guys were kind of dull, and we got to get that. Some of you guys, we hadn't even started the sharpening process yet, all right? But our job is to help sharpen you up and develop you as leaders, and everybody can be a top producer and a top leader in life, period, if they make the right choices, if they work after the right things, all right? So for when someone's in level 4, they shift their focus from the production achieved by others to the development of their potential. That makes sense? All right? So at level 3, you're focused more on helping this person, like you're focusing on production achieved, by others, right? And so what they're achieving. So you're helping them, they're producing or whatever, but your focus is on that. You're focusing on production achieved by others. But when you're in level 4, it shifts to your attention is to the development of their potential. So now you're looking at, okay, what is this person capable of? What could they do, Not just helping them, with whatever they're producing or doing or pushing them to that, but it's like expanding them, expanding their mind, helping them expand their capacity. And so you're more focused on, is this person maximizing their potential, right? Because some people, let me give you an example. Ready? You're a sales rep, or you have a rep that's producing $3K a week. Every week they're producing, you're holding them accountable. They've got to do their 10 demos, 15 demos to get that done. And so as a manager, you're always holding them accountable. You make that schedule. You're making sure they're producing. You're encouraging them. You're recognizing them. They're on the newsletter. You're doing a great job as a level 3. Cool? You're doing a great job. And they're hitting their goals. They hit their campaign goal. Their 3K a week, gets them to here, whatever. Level 4 is where I saw this shift happen with a couple of our CSPs this summer, with Isaac, with a couple people, that they had their goals, and so they'd been used to being managed at a level 3, and even when I came in, but then I was like, I'm a level 4 manager. That's my passion, 4 and 5 obviously, but like I want to help people fully use their potential, and I'm always looking for that, and I'm looking at some of our CSPs going, really? Like, why are you not selling more? Why are you not thinking bigger? I'm with you too. I was like, what are you doing? I'm like, you're an ass kicker. I'm like, why are we not selling more? Like, what is stopping? Why are we only here? How do we get here? Because you're a level 10 type performer, and you're not performing at a level 10. So where is the breakdown? What's happening? Is it lack of confidence? Is it lack of skills? Is it, belief? Whatever it is. Is it lack of time? Resources? Like, what is it? To help them find that full potential. And with some of the guys, it was changing up certain parts of their demo and closing and, drop down, whatever it was. But just finding those things to help them see how big they could take it. Let's not just focus on producing that 3K a week. Let's see, how big could it go? Like, I know you've got time for these 20 demos. How big can we make those? Can it be an 8, 10, 12, 15K type week every single week? How do we get there? So that's an example of someone leading at a 4. It's not just we're holding account to their goals, we're pushing, we're encouraging them, but we're really helping them think, hey, how do we take it bigger? Because I know there's more in there. And that's many of you guys in here right now, and you're thinking for yourself, like, how do we take it bigger with you? Because there's definitely more potential than what you guys have shown in this room. Every single person in this room has more potential than what you've shown. And some of you guys have sold more than others, and I'll tell you right now, there is not one person in here, I believe, has touched the potential of what they could do. Not one. And so there's so much more, and I'm excited to see that keep developing, all right? But as a level 4 leaders only put 20% of their focus on personal productivity, while they put 80% of it on developing and leading others. And by the way, this can be a very difficult shift for highly productive people who are used to getting their hands dirty, you know, and doing it themselves and doing everything themselves. It's a very big shift, but it's a change that can really revolutionize an organization and give it a much brighter future when they're able to. And so this has been Mary Lou. Mary Lou, she's been, she's used to just getting stuff done, right? And again, in different parts of the business, because she's a level 4 with reps or whatever it is. But in terms of an office functioning, she's like, let's go, let's get stuff done, you know. And she always has known how to get stuff done. And shifting has been tough. She's like, I want to do it myself. But it's like, no, 20% is on you, 80% is on helping other people getting it done. It's just like, ugh. And it's hard, that shift, because you're used to, again, getting your hands dirty and doing it yourself. So when you're now handing the baton off, and that was the biggest shift for me from 07 to 08, and it was hard, man. And I remember very, very vividly walking up to check in at the Bellagio. Justin Donald, one of my mentors, and we just passed him last week. He's number 3 now, by like a grand. But he's checking in, and he looked so refreshed and so happy. And I'm like newer manager, like we were number 1 in the company that year in 07, $1.5 million year. And I'm just like, he looks at me, he starts laughing. He goes, you look like crap. He goes, congrats on your year, by the way. Phenomenal job. And I said, thank you. And then he said, now it's time to start learning how to teach others. I'm like, excuse me? He goes, you're a great manager. You're a great office manager. He's like, but why don't you start learning how to be a great business owner and develop other great office managers? He's like, that's going to be great for them, so they don't feel like incompetent or like you don't trust them and you have more belief in them. It's going to help them develop as leaders. It's going to help them develop as people. And it's also going to help you develop into the next leadership and also create a better lifestyle for you. He's like, he was just shy of the same for the year. He's like, but I spent half the year in Costa Rica, this. And I was like, and that's where a lot of my lifestyle came from, really shadowing his. I loved his lifestyle. It's what I always wanted. And he's been a big example for me in the business. And so I've modeled a lot of things after how he did things. But I said, man, and that really hit me. And he said, why don't you focus this year on doing this? And by the way, we broke the all-time record for summer sales that summer and built off of that as I moved to Miami in 08. And it was amazing. The development we had, the people that we had, and I really learned how to work through other people and really help them out. So when you're, in with people development, and you guys can put here, like in this stage of your leadership journey, these are, the behaviors that are most important. Number 1 is recruiting. Find the best people possible. And by the way, a key to recruiting the best people possible for whatever you're doing in your organization is to really have a clear picture of what you're looking for. So as you're developing, great sales, and for us it's easy because we know what characteristics of a great sales rep looks like or whatever. And if you don't really knowing, like, is someone a great student? Do they have discipline? Are they, and just having it said of what it is you're looking for, because you can share that with people. Here's what we're looking for in the best people. Number 2, positioning. Placing the right people in the right position. So when you get to level 4 leadership, and again, this is more for many of our district managers, and eventually, if you guys really strive for this, it's amazing when you get to this place, and that's something where I'm working with Mary Lou in this place right now, is being a level 4 leader. But are you placing the right people in the right position? It's not enough to just recruit good players. A leader has to understand where those players fit best on the team and really be able to put them there and empower them in those places. Number 3 is modeling, and that's showing others how to lead. So as the leader, you have to model what you want to see in others. Does that make sense? It's not just you need to do this or that, but like you have to actually live it. You have to do it so that they can copy. So I'm like, Mary, you want to, we need to like get in there and do it. She's like, when I get back from my career, she's like, I'm just going to be in there. I'm going to be going yard. I'm going to be doing this. I'm like, yeah, that's what you need to be doing. You need to be doing everything and just have them sit there and watch you. I was like, they need to be watching. They need to be learning. And that's how you develop some of the best leaders. So modeling. Number 4, equipping. All right, equipping. So when you get here, you need to make sure you have to help others do their jobs well. So are they equipped? Do they have the knowledge? Do they have the tools? Do they have what they need to be able to go out there and get that done? All right, so that's number 4. Number 5 is developing. Teaching them to do life well. All right? If the only thing you're helping a new leader learn is how to get ahead in the workplace, you're not truly developing that person to succeed. All right? So helping them develop personally. Number 6, empowering. Empowering. Enabling people to succeed. All right? So empowerment is helping people see what they can do without your help and releasing them to do it. All right? So once you've equipped them, empowering them, say, hey, I know you can do this. And watching them, developing them, and always pointing out the good, always coaching and teaching them. And that's number 7, is measuring. And I put evaluating those who you develop to maximize their efforts. Evaluating those you develop to maximize their efforts. So as they're performing, we need to evaluate, we need to give feedback to help them keep maximizing what they're doing and making sure they're getting better and better, all right? And number 5, level of leadership. And this is what, the highest leadership accomplishment is developing other leaders to lead at a level 4. Like as a leader, if you can have other people develop, leading at a level 4, you are at the highest level of leadership. And that's something I'm really trying to work on with Mary Lou's, getting her at a level 4 leadership. Because it's very rare for a leader to reach level 5, and that's pinnacle leadership. And you can jot that down. It's very few people that I've ever personally, even everybody I don't have this with. But level 5, not only, this is the culmination, by the way, of leading well on the 4 other levels, but it also requires both a high degree of skill and some amount, like a certain part of just natural leadership ability. Because it takes a lot to develop other people to lead at level 4. It takes a lot, all right? And that's what level 5 people do. People that reach level 5, they lead so well for so long, they can create a legacy of leadership in the organization they serve. And guys, with level 5, this type of leadership, people follow you because of who you are and what you represent. You can write that down. They follow you because of who you are and what you represent. All right? And it's important for you to understand, too, that most leaders who do reach pinnacle do so, first of all, later in their careers. Okay? This takes time to get here. But pinnacle is not a resting place. It's not you get there and you're there. All right? Because it moves around. It's not a place where you stop and just view your success. It's a place, it's a reproducing place where they make the greatest impact in other people's lives and in their own. And so constantly growing, learning, developing, because you've got to be able to keep leading the other people and developing more of those level 4. So it's a constant, with gratitude, and he wrote, I remember him writing, this is a quote from the book, he said, with gratitude and humility, they should lift up as many leaders as they can, tackle as many great challenges as possible, and extend their influence to make a positive difference beyond their own organization and industry. And I think about in any industry that you do, like there's things for level 5 that make a big impact. And so to grow yourself, like if someone wants to be a level 5 performer. I know in the book he outlines like 10 different guide to growing too. It's like if I want to be a level 5 or growing through a level 5 leadership, what are things that are going to help grow me through there? And he walks through, and you don't need to write these down. You can read the books later, but he's talking about remaining humble and teachable. The second one, he says maintaining your core focus. Do you know what your core focus is? The third thing is creating the right inner circle. To keep you grounded. And that's important because you never want to be a holier than thou or whatever, but people that really do challenge you but keep you grounded. Number 4, do only what you can do because it's very easy to try to do too much and then you're not able to impact and influence the right way. Number 5, he talks about creating a supercharged leadership development environment. And so there's always people developing as leaders. Number 6 is create room at the top. Sometimes people, they want to be at the top and push other people down. But to be at a level 5, you're creating room at the top. You want more people up there with you. You want more people leading at the highest levels. Then number 7, he talks about developing your top leaders. Number 8, plan your succession. Number 9, plan your legacy. And number 10, use your leadership success as a platform for something greater. And you guys will hear more about this. I'm not going to talk about how to maintain this level with you guys. This is more for my district managers. But I wanted to share this with you guys to really look, where am I? And this is something that this goes a lot deeper into each level, and really being able to see with different groups where you're at, how to develop the good, the bad. And I have a cool chart that I'm gonna take a picture of and post it in our group so you guys have it, which is kind of I don't know, like a cliff note a chart, and it goes through the characteristics of this level, the mindset, the organizational impact, and the belief and actions needed to transition, which I think is really neat. So you guys can look at and just be aware. Awareness I think is definitely key. So I hope you guys took some good stuff, and I want to take 2 minutes, and I know I actually took my full hour, so I apologize to Cody, but we're right on time with everything. 2 minutes real quick. Anything that stood out to anyone, or any ahas, or anything that you liked from that, I'd love everyone doesn't have to share, but if there's anyone that wants to say anything that they really like.
People follow you because of who you are and what you represent. That's a big thing. That should always remind you that you should be on your P's and Q's at all times, because if someone's watching what you're doing and you're influencing them. Mm-hmm. So if things aren't going right with the people that you have, it's because you're doing something, and they think it's cool. It's not right.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you just hit it in level 5, saying constantly being able to learn with gratitude and humility. I think that's key in the context of the
mm-hmm.
Self-awareness, level 5, building the top, being there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the best leaders. Other people appreciate when they're able to get there, or you're able to develop people to be as good or better. Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think in one level 2, creating a link of the vision with everything that you do, because it's like, I think that's a very thin line between making you level 1, level 3, telling someone to do something, or like, this is what we're doing, and this is what we're building.
Real quick, some of my social everything you said that like something shaped basically by that.
Yeah.
You gotta ask yourself, how can I be a better version of me? Like, what can I do to improve? What can I do to keep this getting better?
I think that blows my mind the most here about the 5 levels of leadership. It almost seems like Vector was built around these 5 concepts. Like, oh look, let's do something like this, but like let's sell knives. Okay, it's crazy because like everything that we do, everything that we lead up to, starting as a sales rep and our fast start, going up to somewhere of your caliber and manager, it's all that's the path. Take it. Go forth and do it. I'm excited now. This is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, and by the way, it's so true. When I was like, what's so incredible? I remember being at this event a couple years back and being at this seminar, and I said, man, I love that our business allows people to have a chance to lead at all these levels. Where not every job, not every has the infrastructure to allow you to experience these different levels. And we don't just have it there because other people might have it there, but we encourage it. And we want you to keep growing through those levels and developing as a person. I think that's pretty awesome. And I was like, man, that's so great. Because this is something that business people from all over the world study and read, and John Maxwell teaches.
Again.
Yeah, I got
Yes.
I know. I'm old-fashioned.
Take a picture and send it to me. Let's do that. All right, so I'm going to hand it off to Cody. This is our sales development aspect, and we're, again, four different things that you guys are learning each time, from personal, which we just did, personal growth topic, recruiting topic, sales management, that we'll be walking through. And so he's going to lead us right now, and you guys, I'm going to pass around a handout that you can take notes on. You can take notes on your book with the extras. But I'd asked him to walk through this with us. So thank you so much for sticking around, because Cody didn't have to be here today and put up his office, came in early to set this all up, to let us have this time together. So if we can drink on, give me a round of applause.
Outstanding. Mountain Dew. I don't know. All right, so, yeah, 5 levels of leadership. That's some cool stuff. One thing I would add on to that too is know that that within organizations, this is something that I learned when Dustin taught this to us, and he said, we need to work really hard because we have a common tendency to think we're leveled a little bit further than we are, right? So that's one thing to kind of keep in mind too. Even in our division, there's very few, like being a level 5 leader is something that isn't just like, oh yeah, Cody or Kathy or Jordan or Melissa, like they're no, we're not even, right? And that's something that takes a lot to work to attain. And there's times when you're like, man, I'm like a 3. If you're someone that's saying I'm like a 3, nah, you a 1. Right? So realize that, and then also remember, like Kathy said, it's different levels with different people as well, right? So you have to know how to get to a level 4, but at the same time too, you develop that level of leadership with each person, and I'm sure Kathy said that too. But that's the thing for me, because there's people in my organization right now that I'm like a 1 with. I'm at a level 1 leadership level with some of the people in my organization. There's people in the organization that I'm also at a level 4 with, right? So some of the newer people, that's just I'm the manager. Then they're all also like, because recruiting is required in anything that you all are going to do moving forward. I don't care what you're doing, you have to be able to recruit, right? Want to make one of the top hospitals? Cool. Better be a recruiter. Find the best and brightest talent. Want to go work in academia? Cool. Want to build the best department? Get the best grad students. You got to be able to recruit it, right? So that recruiting is really, really, really important. Sales is important too. We're going to go into the future, but there are some things where your sales skills, aren't quite as in the business world. There's some areas of the business world that your sales are important, but maybe not as important as being able to go in and sit down and really recruit with someone. So that's one thing I wanted to share with this group today, that since this is the first one of these prep meetings, that's something that, or second technically, that's something that I really want this group to focus on, is learning how to be phenomenal recruiters, right? And I was talking with Kyle about this second, like when you go into that interview room, are you figuring out exactly who this person is, giving them like a little quick mini profile and figuring out, okay, I need to be able to hit this person on this, and this level, and if I do, they're going to come join this team. The majority of y'all don't know that yet, and that's a really powerful thing that you can gain. And that's something that all of your managers are very good at, and she's literally the best at in the history of the company. So that's one thing I just wanted to share, and that doesn't really necessarily have to do with this message, but I wanted to mention that to you all since we had everyone here. Now, let's look at this document in front of us, though. When it does come, once we actually get the reps, right? Get the reps on your team. You went out and you recruited and you found some people at a campus table. Your receptionist called them and had great efficiency, and they came in the door. They sat through your interview. They said, heck yeah, this is the team I want to be on. I like what this guy's selling. Then they show up to training, and now the idea is, okay, how do we make them productive? Here's the important thing about productivity I want you all to remember, and this is something I always try to teach to my guys, and I always try to remember personally as well. In the interview, you all are going to make people promises. You all are going to promise them something. You're going to promise that, hey, if you come and do this job, you're going to have this experience. You're going to be able to make this income. You're going to be able to, have that part-time job, that flexible schedule, that scholarship. You make them promises, all right? And it bugs the crap out of me when I see managers who go and make those promises in an interview, get people in a training room, things start going crazy in the office, and they forget to take care of that person and actually get them the results that they promised them that they were going to get. That's why, if anyone's seen a Vector, a disgruntled YouTube video or some crap, that's where that comes from. Because that kid was made a promise in the interview, and then guess what? Didn't get followed up on. Right? So we want to make it really simple and easy. I just want to be like, hey, there's some simple things that if you do with your reps, right? And it doesn't have to be like, okay, I need to get to whatever, have this amazing, be amazing at this relationship or this piece here. No. I'm going to make it super simple. There's just a few things you got to do that if you can provide it to your reps, every rep that you have, and if you can't provide it, can you show an assistant manager how to provide it? And that's another thing I would say too. You're like, okay, I can do that. Okay, it's cool if you can figure these things out. But for those of you guys that are going to go and get to run offices, it's not just do you know how to do this, it's can you teach your assistant managers how to do this as well? Because you're the lead person, you're in charge, you have 3, 4, 5 assistant managers that are going to be working for you this summer. They have to be able to make sure these 5 things are in place too, okay? So that's what I want to go through right now. And so these are sales. So once we get the team there, what are some things we can do to keep them selling? So we're going to go through this document is called The Power of 5. We're gonna the idea of the best five, 5 before, 5 after, 5 crucial events, 5 keys to building a great team, and 5 keys to developing a great rep. Okay, this is what we're gonna go through. Some of you guys are gonna know what some of these things mean. Some of you guys are not gonna know what these things mean. So that is why I'm walking through this with you all. Okay. You know what? I'll probably explain it efficiently because I'm pretty good at that. And so we'll save questions to the end. But what I like to do, just how I like to work personally, is I like to go through things, and then I want you to write stuff as we go, and then we'll cover stuff at the end if there's any questions. Because if I get interrupted, then I can get tangented, and then we're going to be here for like 30 minutes, and I'm going to end up talking about like a dolphin or something. But let's go through this. So first thing that you want to remember with your people when it comes out of training. And in the spring, we're going to talk about training, right? Vector 201 is designed to teach you guys how to learn how to train people. But one of the important things, and some of the guys that were with me the other, this looks weird, Kathy. Something's going on. Anyway, the people who were with me in 101, we said that there's a certain number of demos that we need someone to launch with. What was that number? Does someone remember? Cool, we need a minimum of 9, right? We want to shoot for 10 demos launch, but we want to make sure that I personally will not launch a training class unless the training class totals an average of 9 demos per head. All right? If you launch a training class with 9 demos per head, you're going to have great first week. We call it first weekend pop. That means the training class goes out and sells, actually. It's going to be fine. If you get lower than that number, you're going to be rolling dice. If you get above that number, you can have done if you get the training kind of okay and you get 9 demos ahead out the door, your training classes are going to sell every time, right? Now then, I don't promote 9, I promote 10, get to 10, shoot for 10, shoot for 10. I'll teach you guys how to do that maybe in the spring. But though, this is part of that, right? Because we want them to get the more demos booked because some are going to cancel, some are going to reschedule, but this is the big thing that we want to be able to do, and that's promote best 5, right? Best 5 focus for your first weekend. Can anyone tell me what that means? Go ahead, Jacob.
Just to see your best 5 people first.
Cool. Super simple idea, but if we put it into use, it becomes really powerful. So we want to anything that we want people to remember, we need to repeat over and over again. So we want to say best 5. It's your best 5 first, best 5 people, best 5 customers this weekend, best 5 first, right? And so what this does is that it ensures that even for if it's I don't know if y'all have heard this term before. There's going to be high flyers in the group. Lots of you guys in this room are probably high flyers in your group, right? We have some mid flyers that are probably that are some people that are in training that maybe they don't have some maybe their leads are a little shaky. Maybe there's some other stuff, and then there's some people that we do work with that are a little bit more lower flyers, and probably those are some of the people that that were in your training class that aren't here and maybe weren't on the team after a few weeks, right? But if we promote this the right way, this is a way that we can even have our low, medium, and high flyers all really do well. And that's the objective, because I don't like the idea that we bring on someone to the team that maybe doesn't have this super stacked, whatever. I went to, whatever high school downtown list of parents, someone like, we want to be able to extend that to everyone and say, okay, cool, everyone's going to be able to do well. So here's the power of your booking your best 5 first. So when it comes with low flyers, that means they're going to get their first sale or 2. First sale or 2 means a big thing for those people because that's going to give them confidence. The biggest thing you can do for all of your people is making sure they all sell something their first weekend, because if they sell something, they're going to sell something else. That's proven, right? So we want them to sell something, because if they sell something, they're going to sell something else. Mid-flyers, if they get their best 5 their first weekend, they're probably going to get their first set sale or 2 and a couple sales. And here's the thing. They're going to get their first promotion. Someone goes out and gets their first promotion their first weekend with you, I guarantee you they're going to be sticking with you for a while. And you'll have time to do the rest of this program, right? But if you don't set them up right their first weekend, they'll go out and fail, and they're going to be like, I'll come to see you on Monday or Tuesday and be like, hey, Cody, we got to talk. I really, really appreciate the opportunity, but I just don't think the job's for me, right? It wasn't them. On day 3, day 4 of the job, it had nothing to do with them. It was you, okay? So we need to make sure that's in place. High flyers, then, if we do that with their high flyers, get their best 5, a high flyer, if we get their best 5 people, they can probably hit at least their second promotion. First, no problem. Second, at least, maybe even get some people close to their third. right? I know lots of people I have several people in this room that went out, saw some of their best people, and they got close to, over 3K, 4K, 5K, 6K their first weekend. What'd you sell your first weekend, Kyle? Almost $6,000 your first weekend. All right, and so we'll go out and have that from our team if we get it. Now, how do you promote this? Simple. You're going to stick best 5 in and repeat it over and over during training. We need assistant managers that going in every time you go into a training room. Be like, dude, if Kathy or if Jordan or if whoever's training, or if I ask you, like, oh, what's a tip you could give them for their fast start, right? You should say, dude, make sure you follow the manual, follow the program, but really the big thing for me, I made sure to see my best 5 people first. Right, so that's one way, and also how is another way you can promote. You tell them because it's true. We want them to sell, but this is another mistake. You don't want to come off as pushy, right? You don't want to come off like, oh dang, they just want me to like go see my really rich aunt. And they just want to sell. I don't know, because that's cool, but I will always make this very clear. My objective on their appointments when they're brand new for their first few days with their mom and grandma isn't to go sell knives to their friends and family. If I wanted to go sell knives to their friends and family and their grandma, I'd go do that myself because I'm really good at it. My objective is to make sure that they have some great experience, right? One, get some great experience, maybe get their first sale or two to build some confidence, and most importantly, recommendations. Because your best 5 people, their best 5 people are going to know their other best 5 people, right? They're going to be able to get their best recommendations from their best customers. So here's the cool thing: even if we have someone that they're kind of a little bit nervous, maybe they know that they're not from the best neighborhood, right? They know there's another kid in their training class that lives down whatever on whatever street with whatever big house or to whatever private school. They know that their list isn't the same as that person's list. But here's the power. Even for that person, that kid in your training class, if you promo this the right way, what happens is you're going to be able to go out there and show them, if they show their best 5 people, guess what? One of those people, 2 of those people is going to be able to give them some really good recommendations. So even though this person might be starting a little bit back, for their first weekend, we're going to give them after the first few days and their first 10 days and their fast start, their list is going to look every bit as good as, Johnny private school kid. Right? And so that's the power of promoting it the right way. And then you also have to be able to make sure you follow up on helping them get recommendations too. But that's the power of your best 5. And if we're focused on that, you're going to have sales reps that are selling, and we're going to be getting a lot of promos, having a lot of fun. And then from a management perspective, it makes sense for you to get your kids their first sales because you get the highest percentage from brand new sales, right? Up to the first $1,000 someone sells, you make 25% of that. You want to get them those sales right away, too, from a business side of things. But you never promo it that way. You're not going to be in a training class and so I need all you guys to go sell some stuff because that's going to, just this weekend right away because that's going to make me the most. No one cares about you, right? And so realize that once you're in this seat training room, you care about them. It's your people. How can we help them? What do they need? And the more of them you can help get what they want, then you're going to get what you want as well, right? So that's an important thing. We're going to keep this rolling. And then it goes next best 5, right? So that's one thing that you can still keep this thing rolling. Because sometimes, I saw my best 5, now what? Cool, who's your next best 5? You're going to have reps selling always and forever if you can just keep that focus. Next one, 5 before, 5 after. This is a huge key in their first few days in terms of habits, right? So a couple of you guys, if I had to guess, I'm going to say 3 of you in this room do this, right? Maybe 2. Do 5 phone calls before, 5 phone calls after. Right? This is something that when it's done properly, you get a huge result from because the biggest thing is we have to get more demos set. That's the biggest thing that's going to happen day 4 through 10 for them is they're going to go out their first 3 days. Cool. Like some of you guys may have done too. Well, your first few days, oh, this is awesome. I got all these demos booked, but you didn't get in to come in and sit down and do another big phone time to book up the rest of the week. Now, all of a sudden, it's kind of lackadaisical. Some of you might still be having this problem. You'll go I'm doing the phone jam on Sunday. Cool. Or I'm doing the phone jam on Thursday, whatever it is. You get set up for the next 3 days, and then all of a sudden it's Saturday, and we're okay, how many demos do you have for Saturday? I don't really, I got 1. Right? What do you mean I have anything for the weekend? Well, I've been, no, you just didn't do the phone time. That's it. No big deal. You just didn't do the phone time, because last time you did phone time was on Sunday. Right? And now it's Friday. 5 before, 5 after cures all of that. If you guys don't know what I'm saying, that's 5 phone calls before each demo, 5 phone calls after each demo. Because if you do 5 phone calls before each demo, 5 phone calls after each demo, you're gonna set up one demo per completed. You're gonna set 1 new demo per each demo you complete. Always replacing. That's big, big. All right? You got to teach your reps, especially your summer reps, this. Some of you guys might be like, oh, that sounds so cool. I want to do it now. Oh, I have... Yeah, okay, cool. We're in the fall. It's different for your schedules. You guys have like 1 sales day right now. But we're talking summertime like we just finished up a month ago. Full-time sales reps, these brand new high schoolers, you need to be on them. And this is an easy way to teach them so that they can do it themselves. Because if you teach this right, we can do it ourselves. Right? And that's a really powerful thing. When you can, because you want to teach your sales reps so you're not the one that always has to be, hey, did you? It's really cool when, like, Kristen just does her phone time and has all of her demos booked each week, and I just have to be like, hey, Kristen, did you? She's like, yeah, I got them. Cool, done. Because she built the habits the right way in the beginning. Really powerful. You want reps like Kristen, so train them that way. Next one, 5 crucial events. 5 crucial events. These are the events that you have to have if you want to retain reps. Advanced Training 1. Their first PC, their first team meeting, their first AT2, and their day 11 PC. You nail those 5 events for every rep, they're going to be retained on your team because they're going to learn. Now, what's the big thing at AT1? Right, and this is the thing that I'll promo with my new reps too. Some y'all may use it, some of you guys may not on PDI, but I always, for our brand new reps, I'm always excited about their firsts. Right, so on a PDI call or even in training, I'll tell them, dude, you're going to go through a lot of first experiences. Right, you're going to get your first demo done. So I'm always super pumped. They just got their first demo done. Awesome job. Right, you're going to get your first sale. That's awesome. You're going to get your first no sale. That's awesome. Right, you're gonna get your first sponsor, your recommendation, your first double sponsor, triple sponsor, your first quadruple sponsor. Right? Like, oh my gosh, what's it gonna be like to get your first quadruple sponsor and be able to give them a free vegetable peeler, right? Kristen, do you remember you had some trouble, right? Your first weekend with recommendations, your first day or two, cool. And then we found out that we could get them to the 4 recommendation, the quadruple sponsor, cool. And then was it you or Michelle? It was you, right? Yeah, you got how many quadruple sponsors your first weekend? 3? Cool. So we taught her that. For her first, 4 appointments though, Kristen got like 1 recommendation, 0 recommendations, I forgot recommendations, right? And then I said, Kristen, let's get your first sponsor. She got her first sponsor, like on her 4th appointment. And then we said, dude, how cool would it be? Like, did you know that you could get them like a free vegetable peeler if they became your first like quadruple sponsor? How cool would it be if you could get your first quadruple sponsor on this next appointment? Kristen goes out, she gets her first quadruple sponsor on that next appointment, her very first weekend. Then she does it 2 more times, racks up 60 recommendations from just those ones, finishes up her very first weekend with close to 100 new names and numbers after her first 4 days on the job, right? Why? Because we promo it the right way. So that's an important thing, to be about the firsts, be about the firsts, right? And then, it's easy. If you're already doing that on PDI your first weekend, you just roll these things into it. Like, dude, first advanced training, right? You're going to do your first advanced training. It's so awesome. We have like 3 or 4, 8, 10 of these things, right? Wait until you get to advanced training 21. It's my favorite, right? I used to joke with them on PDI, right? We don't have that many advanced trainings. It's okay. But like, you're going to have your first one, really excited for you. And then when they get there, you just recognize them. Recognize everyone for doing good. Advanced Training 1, you're just and we'll talk about this, when it comes time for training, but you're just telling them, hey, wherever you're at, you're perfect. Whether you did great, did medium, did bad, you're perfect. Sold nothing, sold everything, you're perfect, right? You're right where you're supposed to be. Build confidence, right? Teach them how, give them a couple new tricks, create a plan, book some more demos, get them out there. First PC. First PC should probably happen on day 4, ideally. Right? I want all new members of my team to be PC'd no later than Wednesday morning. I want it all done by then. Because if you get all your new people, you want it on Monday and Tuesday. I get my entire team PC'd by Wednesday morning. Just figure it out. We got to do it. Right? Because if they get it done in those 3 days, we're going to have a solid plan for the week. Because if you push it back a little bit, oh, maybe Wednesday, Thursday, oh, guess what? Thursday comes, Friday comes, you start training. Training comes along, next thing you know, it's freaking Saturday. We're going to do a Saturday PC to talk about how we're going to really attack the week. There's 2 days left. All right, so UPC at the beginning of the week, Kathy does the PSPs, which I think is awesome. It's not something that we've really got down in this division yet, I know. But regardless, you got to get everyone talked to right away, and that's something that's really powerful. So I always put my newest people first. My 10K PCs, my fast start PCs, I want them happening, Monday and Tuesday. Monday, Tuesday, then Tuesday, Wednesday, get the rest of the team done, and then we're off to the races. Get everyone prepped up for the team meeting and the phone jam on Wednesday, on Thursday, you're good to go. But that's what we need to do. Get into their first PC. Team meeting, first team meeting is important, right? And then making sure they get to their first team meeting is important. If you don't get someone to their first team meeting, and if you let them pull like a busy school excuse, I got this, I got that, well, then you're going to have trouble getting into every team meeting for the rest of their career. If they get, save the questions to the end, remember? Right? But thank you for paying attention. I appreciate that engagement. So we have to then get them to that first team meeting. But here's the other kicker too. Got them in the team meeting, and you got to get them to the team meeting 1, and 2, you got to make sure it's a good team meeting. We're going to talk about running good team meetings as part of the curriculum as well. Right? Because if you get someone to the meeting, cool, they're there. But then if you got them to come in for a meeting, they didn't get value at the meeting, you're probably going to maybe get them to 1 more meeting, maybe 2, and then you're done. They're going to have very spotty team meeting attendance if we don't have good events. That's important overall. So what's that? And here's the biggest thing. If you can give them a high five, smile, encourage them, and get them on the phone and book a few more demos, if they can come in, if you go smile, high five, get them 3 to 5 more demos booked, they're going to have felt value for coming in. Right? Maybe teach them a little, let's role play together real quick. You don't have to give everything. They're new. Chill out. Get the manual down. Right? There's so many things they're still getting wrong. There's probably things that some of you all in this room are just getting wrong. Right? That's okay. We're going to figure that out. But you don't need to slam them with anything crazy in their team meetings or their advanced trainings. We keep it simple, keep it fun. Smile, high five, tiny little bit of learning, and get them on the phone. Because if you get them the more demos, we all know that's what matters. AT2 is the other event, because this is going to help them. We do phoning at AT2, teaching them how to get good at the phones. Then what do? Remind them, stick to your list, get more names and numbers, book more demos. And day 11 PC, here's the big one, right? Because it's easy, we utilize the tool of our fast start. Fast start, first 10 days, double what you want to do regularly. Go out, win some cool prizes, hit some cool promotions. How far can you get in your first 10 days? For some competitive people, they're going to get excited to go out and be number 1. For some of the logical people, it's going to make sense because it's like, well, I'm going to do it anyway, so I might as well just do it this week because I get more stuff for just doing the work this week, right? The fast start is so perfect. Cool. We drive. I've seen so many offices that are fast start offices. Especially new managers. So I don't want you guys to be it. I want you to have these freaking sick teams that are with you all year long. Right? And if you think about it, you probably saw, you're like, yeah, I had like 10 people in my training class. And then after their fast start, there was like, 3 at that meeting the next week. All right? That happens sometimes. I'm sure maybe one of you guys have seen this. Hopefully not, because we do have some good managers. But that might be something you see as new managers. This is the critical PC you have with them on day 11 after their fast start, because this is where you set up the plan, you set up some vision, and you help them realize, hey, this is what we're going to do moving forward. And it's important for your guys that hit their 1 or 2 promos to keep them going consistently, and it's really important too for your guys who sold 6, 10K, 15, 20K plus in their fast start, because we need to make sure we have a good meeting with them and they understand too, because they're going to be like, dang, I was just going like 8 demos a day for the last however many days. It's crazy. I hit my 10K, hit my 15K. They're going to be like, dang, I have to keep doing this forever? No. We let them know, like, hey, we readjust things now. But here's the most important thing. We still keep working. We said we want to do double whatever we're doing. We had 40 demos last week in the summer. Cool. So we're going to cut that down. Guess what? All you got to get done this week, 20. Hey, you know what? Since you did so good, I'll let you I'll be happy if you only get 15 done this week. Now, I know you're a stud and you want to probably going to do more than that. You should probably go for 20. But if you just get 15 this week, hey, dude, respect, because you just worked really hard. You frame it up the right way, they're going to keep working right after their fast start, even for your high flyers. If you don't do that, you have a kid that sells 10K in their fast start, and then I need a break, and then they don't sell crap all. They drop down the next week and sell like $1,000, right? Nah, if they sold 10K in their fast start, they should be able to be popping 3K weeks for their entire summer and going after some fun SC1, SC2 pushes. So that is critical. We're going through a lot of information. I understand. I appreciate it. Make sure you're writing stuff down and writing down questions that you want for clarification here in a minute too. But it tells you how to do a day 11 PC. It's on there. We're also going to go through it in the curriculum as well when it comes to going through the day 11 PCs. There are a couple different PCs that we use at different times. That's all part of the curriculum. That's not the purpose of this talk to go in depth, but know that it's one of the critical points. All right, 5 keys to building a great team. This is a great team culture. There's some metrics here that I want you guys to know. Some of you guys are familiar with the numbers in the business. Some of you guys are not. The newsletter. Here's the idea. For every 1 rep you get on the newsletter, you multiply that times 2.5. That's how much you sold for the week. If you want to have a $10,000 week, you need to get, anyone do the math? How many people on the newsletter? 4. If you get 4 people on the newsletter, your office is going to sell $10,000 a week in the week. New business, right? This is the new business we're talking about, remember? It's not like, having your CSPs or FSMs, and you guys won't, so don't worry about that, right? But anyway, newsletter, 2.5 to 1 rule, right? So if we want a 10K week, you got to focus on getting 4 people on the newsletter. If you as a manager only focus on getting 4 people on the newsletter, you're going to sell, bam, 10K. I'm like, but doesn't that only equal 4K? No, well, they're going to have people that are going to sell a little bit more. They're going to go past a K. There's going to be at least 4, 5, 6K coming from them, and the rest of your active team is going to fill in the rest of that, and you're going to hit it. All right? So when you go out, you promo it. Now you have to promo it the right way, or no one cares about what the newsletter is. But if you promo getting on the newsletter and why it's going to be great, and we're going to talk about promotion, that's another talk. That's probably something you should write down too. Figure out how to promo properly. That's huge. Right? But though, if you figure that out, then we're just going to go promo these things, promo your newsletter. Cool. You get 4, right? Guess what? Then you get 8. It's a 20K week. Money. That's fun. 40K week, 16 people on the newsletter. But you have to build it the right way. And that's by building up the newsletter, building up consistency, right? So that's a metric that you need to remember. And the reason I stuck with the 4 is because when you all are brand new, the second you guys open up in May, right, May week 1, your big objective, you're going to work, you need to get those 4 people on the newsletter immediately because that's going to be your first 10K week. Because when you're brand new, we want to get everyone to 10 as soon as possible. If you can be at 10 within your first 3 weeks open, heck yeah. If you can be there sooner, that's even better, right? But if the entire branch and new district class this coming summer was up and running with all 10K plus weeks by the time we got to May week 3, holy crap, right? It's just stupid, right? And that's all new business, so that's very profitable, right? From the business side of things, but also from the people side of things. Hell, you have people doing that right away. You're going to have a sick team going into that first, division meeting, right? And then from the division meeting, they're going to be all pumped up to go have a sick SC1 push. You just got to keep it simple. Keep it simple for your people. And keep it simple for yourself, probably, too. Don't get too freaked out. Just remember these basics. All right, meeting attendance. You need to have 75% of your active team at each meeting. Some people say 90. I've heard Kathy give talks about, she's like, if 90% of your team isn't there, you're failing, right? I love that. This comes from Drew and the Rocky Mountain Division. And but though, I think that's good. And Kathy's a master of promotion, has amazing offices, like we said. Her goal is we always want to have 90% of the team there. But at bare minimum, even though you guys are going to be new on your own, first time out, 75% of your active team has to be at the events. Meeting attendance. That's your team meeting. That's your division meeting. Right? I always think about it this way. when it comes to division meeting, when it comes to team meeting, if especially division and division and conference too, if you don't get someone to the conference, consider that person no longer on your team. Right? Because you have like a less than 20%, maybe 10% chance that that person's going to stick around if they don't go to the conference or go to the event. So you got to get good at that. That goes back to that. How do I promote properly? Get them to the events, and then you just get them to the events, right? We'll take care of them. I mean, the DMs, the Kathy we can run some events. You guys have been to them. We know how to do it. Well, they're going to come to the event. They're going to be fired the frick up, but you got to get them there. Right? We get that y'all kind of brand new. You probably can't get up there and run the whole thing and get everyone all jazzed, and that's fine. Your job's to get them there, and we'll take care of it. SLDM is the first one. Man, who went to an SLDM with Kathy? Cool. Who went to the first SLDM with Kathy? That's fun. Look, y'all are here right now. All right, a quarter of the room went to the first meeting. That's awesome. So that's fun. And the rest of you probably started after they stopped doing SLDMs. Anyway, PC every rep every week. PDI every rep every day. Every rep every week gets a PC. For you guys, when you're new, bring them into the office, sit down, have the PC, move on to the next one. You're going to have 80 million things going on. Just get them all done. All right? For those of you guys that want to go be district managers or have really big organizations, cool. There's a point where we'll all have PCs wherever. Right? I PC people, and they don't even know they're getting PC'd, but we just PC'd. Right? Like, I thought we were going to just go and now I have a sales plan and goals. I'm like, yeah, right. Right? I don't call James into the office on Tuesday afternoon and be like, James, can you come in and sit down in front of my desk and we're going to... No, not at all. Never, actually. Right? That doesn't happen. But they still get PC'd. They all get an hour with me each week. Each week. Each of my CSPs gets an hour with me, and guess what? They ship. All right? It's something random. They don't. It's not scheduled as a PC. We're just going and doing something. All right? But for you guys when you're new, get them in front of you at your desk every rep every week. Cody, I have 40 reps. Cool. Train your assistant managers. You need to have 4. If you're going to have 40 reps on your team that quick, you better have at least 2, 3, if not 4 assistant managers with you. All right? Teams. It's fun. Build it. And then PDI, every rep every day. That's another thing. Right? I used to have a lot of problem with PDI personally as a manager. I'll tell you a little story about me as a manager. I had trouble with this because I was like, I never PDI. I have trouble with PDI. I don't PDI. And then I realized, oh no, I am PDI. Right? So it's talking to your people each day. Because I heard talks about PDI and I thought it had to be like this whole big thing with a chart and there needed to be graphs and I needed to have like, I don't know, be logged into some computer system and I had to have, no, if you talk with your reps consistently, they sell consistently. Right? And guess what? You can text people sometimes too. This was a big thing a few years ago when they were like, you never ever text. Text doesn't count as a PDI call. Not initially. You get them in the right habits right away. Right? But once I have someone, like when you guys are on the team, cool. If I can't have time to call them, I'll be like, hey, how's the day going? Going good, doing this, got this. All right, cool. Need anything? No, I'm good. Got tomorrow lined up? Yeah, cool. That's all we needed. Right? But you'll learn that as a manager. There's people that you are going to have to physically talk to. Right? And when you're brand new with people, talk to them all. I'm talking about like maybe a rep that once you get them to SC2 after they've been with you for 2 months, maybe you could just do some texting and chill. New DMs after you've had someone for a little while. But when you're new, you want to talk to them. Because the more you're talking to them, the more demos you're getting booked, the more positive they're being. Every rep, every day, that's critical. Okay? Especially when they're new. Demos, here's the thing. You want to average 1 demo per day per rep on your team. You have a 15-member team, you should have 15 demos booked that day. You're an assistant manager right now in someone's office. They give you 2 people to work with, 3 people to work with. That means you're responsible for getting 2 to 3 demos booked every day. Right? You're on the team with those people, right? So also too. So here's what. Well, crap. My one girl, she's out. She's not going to be able to do anything today. Cool. Maybe you need to go book up 2 demos, assistant manager, to make sure your team has that total. Right? And you manage that. You manage that. You manage that. And if we're focused on that, dang, you get a lot of sales. And the last one we're going to go to, 5 keys to developing a great rep. These are super simple. Newsletter. Never miss the newsletter. Consistency. Right? Kyle, how many weeks did you get on your consistency streak? Yeah, 14 weeks. Colin, his first 14 weeks consistency club. Right? He hit his 20K promo during that time, 25K promo during that time. Right? Fell off consistency streak, and then we have a little bit of trouble, but that's okay. But you keep them on it. If you keep them on it, keep it rolling, you're good to go. Right? Win the prizes. It's fun. Consistency is what it's all about. Mission 100. Always have 100 contacts. 100 plus always, 100 plus always, 100 plus always. If some of you guys don't have 100 plus contacts right now, when you change that immediately, you have a week to do it. Figure it out. If you need help, ask someone that has it. It's very simple. Jacob just got, how many did you get yesterday?
8.
He got 80 from one lady, right? So if you don't have 100 right now, you should probably be talking to him after this event or on the break. Right? 100 always. Because here's the power of it. I tell people when they're brand new, someone has, this is during their first names talk. I'm going to tell them, hey, if you don't have 100 names and numbers, that's okay. If you have 5 right now, perfect number. 10 right now, perfect number. 20 right now, perfect number. Here's my promise. By the time we get to the end of your first 2 weeks on this job, by the end of your fast start, you're going to have 100 names of numbers. 100 working names and numbers by the end of their fast start, always for everyone. No ifs, ands, or buts. And for our top people, we want to get that done before their day 4 PC. Can we do it their first weekend? For your top people, you can do it by their first weekend. No matter who it is. Top people can get it there before their first weekend is done. Right? Not top person, not top 10 person, not top 20% person, right? Bottom 10% person. If you work with them, they can still get 100 names and numbers by the end of their first week. No big deal. Right? But here's the thing. Power of 100 names and numbers. If you have 100 names and numbers to call, you always have a job. Right? Remember the 3 rep pillars? Like, right? Phone and closing recommendations, like a 3-legged like chair or stool or something, table. Don't have one of the legs that falls over, right? So your 3 pillars, phone and closing recommendations. Recommendations are important because if you're great at closing the orders and great on the phone, but you can't get a recommendation, cool, you're going to be out of a job in about a week and a half. I tell my reps that in training. Let them know it's very important. It's very important, but it's also very easy. And then you show them how to very easily, succinctly get recommendations. We'll teach you that later. And then get them to 100. Because as long as they have 100 names and numbers, they always have a job. You have 100 names and numbers in this business, you always have a job. You can always make money. You can have a paycheck every week, and you can make it look whatever you want it to look like. Right? That's awesome, by the way. So if you're not there, talk to someone later on in the break or this evening. Then 5 before, 5 after, we talked about that already. That makes a great rep. Next best 5, that makes a great rep. And here's the big one that people kind of almost forget sometimes. Appreciation and recognition. All right? Does anyone know, there's 3 reasons a rep sells. They have to have all 3 of these things. Does anyone know what they are? Why a rep sells? A rep sells because they feel good, because they have a plan, and because they have people to call. This is for your people, and this is also for you. If there's ever been a time you're not selling, it's only one of those 3 things. You either don't have a good plan, you either you don't feel good, or you don't have people to call. That's it. That's the only reason anyone ever doesn't sell. After we've trained them properly, all that jazz, What were they?
They don't feel good, they don't have people to call.
Oh, that was awful. All right, so 3 reasons a rep sells: because they feel good, right? They have a plan, and they have people to call. That's all they need, and they sell. They have that, and they're going to sell. And the feeling bad, feeling good, feeling bad, that's a fun one as a manager, right? Because yes, you have to appreciate them, you have to recognize them. They're going to keep working just fine, but I'll give you a tiny, tiny little crumb of advanced stuff. If like some of you guys want to work to maybe get like your first FSM or get a rep to 30 or 50K your first summer as a new manager, you have to do some emotional management too. They have to feel good. And here's the thing. They might not necessarily feel good, and it may have nothing to do with work. So sometimes you just get to be there and listen and say, okay, cool, all right, awesome, I understand. It sounds crappy. That happens. What are we going to do now? All right. I like that. Help them a little bit. Help them be positive people. Help them have that whole vector positive crap that you guys were all telling me you were grateful for at the beginning of this meeting. Guess what? You guys get to be responsible for that for other people now. We're responsible for that for you, so that's why you guys feel this way. And we're good at it. It's your turn to learn how to be good at it for others. Right? And when you do that, it's really, really powerful. It's really, really fun. And you're going to make some really cool connections and friendships that you're going to get to have for a long, long time in your life, too. Right? But recognition of feeling good. So we make sure they have demos, make sure they have names and numbers, make sure they have a plan. They're going to be off to the races. Anyway, that is that. I saw a couple hands, so I'm going to do the quick round of questions or clarifications, and then I guess we're on this break. I know. So let's go through this. He was first, actually. Give me one second.
So, what did you do personally?
Excuse me?
What are specifics that you do personally to encourage new reps to come in and start taking the team? Because I think we can do this.
Well, you make it. So it's just in their schedule. So the power of it is you have to schedule it in. Right? So when you're making their schedule for them, you show them, hey, you have a team meeting, you have to be there at this time. This is the thing you have to remember. Your reps are brand new at this job. You're their manager, you're their leader. They're going to do whatever you tell them to do. So you tell them to be at the first team meeting, then it's your responsibility to have a good team meeting, right? And then promote. 5 reasons why it's going to be great. That's the key to promotion. 5 reasons for every event, why it's going to be great, what they're going to get from it. You promote it, they're going to show up. But getting them to your first one is important, and they're going to be there so long as you tell them they have to be there. Right? And then what I usually do, we'll look at the schedules. My advanced training 2 usually happens right before my team meeting. So they're already there to learn about how to call recommendations, and then we just move right into team meeting with the team. And then it's fun. Then they get to meet people, you know. He was first. Go ahead, Jeremy.
So what happens, I know my training class and I was training to get a job, somebody just walked out. Jordan, their class didn't do anything about it, just let them walk out and everything like that. What happens if somebody walks out while I'm running?
Oh, shucks. So there's a couple things here. The first thing I'm going to point with is that the first flaw with that is so there's positive seeking and negative seeking questions. A positive seeking question, and that almost might be a negative. Like, what if someone leaves when I'm training, right? As opposed to, hey, if someone leaves when I'm training, how do I handle the rest of the room to make sure that it's all going to stay positive? Yeah, cool. I don't know, just let them go, right? So, so here's the deal. I'll usually get rid of, I don't know if this is relevant, but I'll answer your question. I usually get rid of the ones that I know are going to be a problem in my pre, and so they don't even come into my group. I know, and you're like, well, how do I know which ones? I bet you, looking back, if you would have seen all them before and be like, okay, if there was one person who was going to walk out, which one would it be? I bet you would have picked that kid that did.
By the way, it's rare. Like he said, most of it's handled in your pre. It's rare to have someone walk out. You're saying in the interview? It's.
Also, we don't know what it was.
Yeah.
Also, we don't know what it was. And so that's the thing. Like, I don't know what happened. Like, they may just remembered they had to go be somewhere. So I'm like, so then usually you can say that they're fidgeting, and I'll just be like, hey, you go ahead, go. Move your chair. Awesome. And then just keep going. But it's like, but I'll address it so it's not like it's weird. Like, because usually you'll see them fidgeting, right? And they're about to, I'm like, hey,
they're looking at
go
their
real
phone
quick.
a lot. They do whatever.
But,
hey,
you're like, hey, go real quick. We're fine. Right? That's easy. And then for training, they'll be like, hey, like you can see them, and I'll be like, oh, yeah, I know. Just I'm about to be at a break. We'll talk. We're good. And they'll be like, okay. And usually they'll have enough respect.
I have a big tip from training that took me about 6 years to learn. That was awesome once I did. It was set up in the beginning when I talked about, in the beginning you talk about people that not everyone does well with Kakko or whatever, and I'm like, only 2 reasons people fail. We talk about working hard and like not being lazy and working hard, but I always say the 2 reasons that people don't do well with Kakkos are just really lazy people or they just don't follow the program. Excuse me, those 2 things. But when I hit them, like, so if someone's really late, I'm like, you might as well just go, like that. And it's funny because if someone leaves, like, oh, that's like lazy person or whatever. So I'm like, here's the deal. I'm like, I don't want to waste anybody's time. Like, this job, what you put into, you get out of it. So, if someone is someone that goes,
dude, I have this job. I make $8 an hour. I don't have to do anything. Like, I don't want them here, and they're not going to do very well here. And if that's you, honestly, I'd rather you leave during the break or whenever you need to, so you don't waste your time. And I always mention that. So if anyone ever left, and I've never had someone leave, I think I've had one person like 5 years leave during day one, but no one wants to be that person because they're like, oh, everyone's going to be like, oh, it's a lazy kid. And I'm like, if that's you, I'm like, seriously, I really recommend, and not bad, but I'm like, I recommend you leave. I'm like, this isn't the best place for you. And that's okay. It's not for everybody. It's a job what you put into, you get out of it. Second reason, people follow the program, whatever. So that's planted within the first 30 minutes. So I never got and I got them earlier in the years. I had people walk out like, oh, this wasn't what I expected, whatever. Where now it's like a very big review, and Lexi saw that. Everything from the interview, I review it like right in the beginning. So everything's like exactly what they heard, and then I mention that, and you will have it. And I'll teach you guys that when we go through training and stuff.
Yep. You smile. You always kill them with kindness when you're doing stuff. Because there was an underlying tone of that that's like, I might take that personally, take that offensive, take that as a front. How to, your job is to smile. You get really, really good at it. Okay? Like smile without kind of thing. Like there's a way you do it, and you're gonna learn that.
Any other questions with this? What he just went over, the power of 5.
Yes, ma'am. Hey, John.
We're talking about their first team meeting, make it a good one. I've seen a lot of Russian team meetings this summer, and we always tried to do at least 2 workshops. And it was always like phony and reps. What other workshops?
We have on team meetings.
So everyone should have a little flash drive, and on your flash drive, it has team meetings and workshops, and there's like 100 pre-made workshops on the flash drive. Maybe no one ever gave Wasim the flash drive. I don't know.
We'll have a whole thing and like topics you can cover. It just depends on what your team needs.
Yeah, and that's what you want to do. So you, like Kathy said, you kind of key into what does my team need this week, because you're a good.
A lot of the specifics and how-tos you guys are going to be learning on a weekly basis with this, by the way. It's all in the curriculum.
They gave me
flash drives. So we're going to do lunch. If you have any other questions, you go from there. Here's the deal. I need to start by 3:30, and then I'm going to play catch-up. So lunch was supposed to be 2:30 to 3. It's 3:01 right now. So grab food, whatever. Does anyone have a fork, by the way? I really do.
Hey, guys. So listen, for food, what's going to be easiest? So right around here,